This is literally the first day in a month. It hasn't been raining the entire day. So I'm gonna go ahead and move everything around, get the Camaro back in the garage, try to get some work done. Now, at the time of filming this video, the hood and the front bumper are still in paint for almost 3 weeks. Hopefully I'm getting that back this week, and then in this video we will have the Camaro put back together. Let's see what happens. Hood and bumper are off in paint, so in about a week, my time, they'll be all painted up, ready to go back on the car. I got all the parts over there, and I'm gonna start by cleaning everything up, fixing some clips that had broken off. One of these had broken off on the driver's side scoop. And then I'm gonna black this out, clean everything up, replace one of those bulbs on the Zl1 stuff that was burnt out. And then we're gonna take the stock harness and interface it with the Gen 5 DIY harness, which is gonna allow both Zl1 lights to work in tandem. So the larger fog and the smaller fog, along with, I believe, the halos. Since this is a 2SS RS package, it's got the halos on it. So I believe the halos and the two fogs will run at the same time with that harness. I guess we're gonna find out when I finally install it. Now you see it, and now you don't. So now I'm gonna take these trim rings off. So I clean them up, prep them, and paint them a satin black. My understanding is these 3 clips come out. Remove this panel, and then you should see 2 clips here, 2 clips here that allow the trim ring to kind of come forward, and then there are more clips underneath, but you can't exactly get to them. So I think by popping these out and then just kind of working my finger underneath, I'll be able to pop the rest of them out. That panel out of the way, you can go ahead and see all the clips. 2 on each. So I'm gonna pop those out and then start pulling the trim piece out. So used a plastic panel popper, went straight in and was able to pull straight out for these top 2, and then I'm gonna try to work my way around the sides and not break anything. It's pretty sketchy doing the bottom parts with all these clips around the bottom, but they eventually come out. Now, I left the marks all over mine, and I've done it the same exact way I've seen every other person do it, so I don't know if people just accept the fact that they leave marks on them, or you don't see them when you reinstall them. But fortunately, I'm going to be sanding these and painting them, so you won't see these marks anymore. But they're out, and now, while this is all open, I'm going to clean all these buckets and all the Texas dirt that is accumulated in here. That way when we put everything back together, it'll be nice and clean. Did a quick cleanup of the bucket, and just without the trim rings being there, you could tell kind of how this is going to wind up looking. With the RS tinted taillights, which are nice and kind of dark ruby red, and black surrounds, it's going to look real nice. No more chrome just popping at you anymore. So I made my first big oops of the build so far. So remember when I was removing these, we got little notches in there from the tool we were using to pop this out, because getting these out is a bear. I needed to clean these, so I put them in some hot water to just kind of break up all the mud and dirt and crap on them. Pulled them out and I was drying them, and then I realized this. Because the metal part was compromised, it allowed hot water to get underneath it and bubbled up. And all 4 are like this. And literally the only way to fix this is to get all this metal flake off, and if you've ever tried to take it off, it's a real pain in the ass. You can use oven cleaner very carefully, put it on this stuff, and sometimes it'll bubble up and come off, but it's a ton of work, and I don't know how much effort I want to put into just blacken these out. So I found somebody on the forum that is selling a brand new set of flat black surrounds for $40, so I'm going to see if I can get those. If I can, I'll just toss these. If I can't, we're going to have to think of a creative way to fix this. Just to reiterate about these chrome pieces, I don't know if you can see that on video, but it's kind of like a metallic coating that they chrome on these plastic pieces, and once it starts flaking, you're screwed, because you can put filler in there and try to smooth it out, but once it's compromised, it's always going to want to peel. I had this problem with my Trailblazer SS. They have these ducts up front that are chromed out, and I had turned them gloss black, and same deal. I brought it to the paint shop. I had chips like this. They weren't able to fix it, so pretty much had to buy a new one and then paint it. So let's fix this. These are the surrounds I was talking about. They're just generic Eagle Eye, flat black, plastic, pop right in, just like OEM, and picked them up pretty cheap online. Alright, and there are the flat black taillight surrounds installed. And an interesting thing I've seen some people say is, oh, just don't run them. Don't run them? Well, it's not such a crazy idea, because if your paint's in good condition and you put this piece back on, it kind of looks blacked out already. I mean, if your trim pieces had been rubbing a little bit, which, I mean, everything shifts when you're driving around, it's going to wear the paint out and you're going to see this line there. But I mean, I guess you could get away with not running them if you want to go on the cheap side, but that's no trim ring, and that's a blacked out trim ring. And again, you could do this yourself if your chrome is in good condition and you can get it off without damaging it. And both sides installed. Now we're gonna black out the gold Chevy bow tie and put our SS badge on. To do the SS badge, we're going to measure the old trunk lid that I still have, make sure we get it spot on. Using the other trunk lid, I measured out where it needs to be, and we're going to go ahead and put that guy right there. Now we got an SS badge again, and I don't know if it'll pick it up on camera, but I put one of those inserts in that are reflective. Kind of makes the badge pop a little more, and apparently at night makes it semi-reflective. I guess we'll see how that looks. It's easy enough to peel back out if it looks like garbage. But the rear end is coming along. Now to do that bow tie. And the bow tie overlay is installed. Now, the instructions say to do this dry, and you gotta be some sort of freaking vinyl ninja to do that dry. So what I did is I used some rapid tack, just a little bit, allowed me to position it, and once it's dry, it should be nice and tight on there and not want to lift. So the hard one's done. The easy one apparently is the front, although they send you two fronts just in case you screw up, so I'm a little worried on that. But fortunately, since the front end of the car is still off and looking sad, I have the grill in the garage, and I could do it and reposition it so it's a little bit easier. Here's a front Zl1 Grill before. So as usual, things that are hard take 5 minutes, and things that are easy take forever. Getting all sorts of little lift points at corners. So what I'm going to try to do is heat it just a little, keep pushing out, and eventually it should take and not bubble up anymore. But for the most part, it's stuck. Just a little bit of heat and all the bubbles are gone, and it seems to be sticking down good. So did it right in one try. Still have the other one. If one of you guys have a 5th gen Camaro and you want to black out your front grille, let me know. PM me your address and I'll just send it to you. I don't need it. Next thing we need to do is make some sort of filler plate to kind of flatten this out so that when I put the SS badge on, it's got something to grab onto, because when you pull the Zl1 badges off, you have these little recesses, and if I were to put the SS badge on, you'd see it from behind, and that would look awfully tacky. So we'll make a filler plate and be able to put the SS badge back on. So I found an old sheet of ABS that I use for I don't know, holding gauges or something. And trimmed out a rough piece that should be able to cover that. And I'll affix it from behind so it'll stay there. And the SS badge will fit just about perfect on there. It should look like that. Granted, the texture is a little bit different, but I doubt you're gonna notice much. And I'm gonna go finish all these edges, round them off, and probably knock this down a little bit so it won't be so shiny. It won't stand out as much. Here's our finished SS grill. So the badge is on. It's got a backing plate, so there's no holes behind it. And it should look good when everything's put back together. Since obviously this wasn't a real Zl1, I got my third brake light here, but I want to get the Zl1 integrated brake light working. So what I got to do is come into here, and back here there's a harness that actually makes that third brake light work. So what we're going to do is we're going to splice into that, disconnect the stock third brake light, and hook the Zl1 one up. As with most things that you read online, it winds up being easier than you think. This little panel, without removing any hardware, pops out straight and then reveals this harness, which goes straight to the taillight, and then this part of the body harness, which actually controls the third brake light. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut about here, cap these off, take this, and then build my new harness. What the new harness is going to look like is I have the female connector that goes to this. It's going to dress all across here, come down here, go across, get to that harness, and then terminate. So this is the harness I was talking about that I got out of the Zl1. This is going to go to the actual Zl1 brake light, and then we're going to extend this about 3 feet, add the stock brake light connector, make it all nice clean harness, and put it in the car. And here's the finished lengthened harness. It only took about another 2 feet of wire. Now we're going to go dress it in the car. That's how it looks, all dressed up, routed down, all nice and zip tied up. Not that you'll ever see it. And again, just to reiterate, if you're doing a Zl1 trunk lid with wing and light, do not take all this out. You don't have to. Pop this panel and the harness is right there. That's how it looks all buttoned back up. The only indication that this is an OEM is you'll see this extra harness coming down. OEM, it's wrapped in this cloth braid, but I don't have any, so I didn't want to take this off, screw it all up, and then try to rewrap it again. But yeah, OEM. So I dropped off Zl1 hood and bumper May 11th. It is now June 15th, and they just now called me to say it's almost ready. They said we're doing final cut and polish, come at 5. I'm leaving so early because, again, South Florida monsoon. So now I get to go in this freaking rain and pick up my parts. This is going to be the third time I've recorded this video because I tried to do one of those, hey, we're going to go pick up the parts kind of thing, and every time I got there, something was wrong. They forgot to paint the underside of the hood. They painted the bumper and then forgot to fill the holes. They painted the bumper and forgot to fix one of the brakes in the bumper. They painted the bumper and were drying it, and the wind took it and it fell on the ground, and they painted it again. So it's now a month and 2 weeks, but I got all the parts. Zl1 bumper, nice and fresh. Bump that was here is gone. I pulled this out. All this is nice and freshly painted. Holes are gone. Hood is nice and fresh. OEM. Brand new Zl1 hood. So in the next video, we're gonna take all those parts, slap them on here, make everything nice, and finally install it on the Camaro. Alright, see you guys next video.